I need you to understand something before I say anything else. I didn't imagine it. I didn't exaggerate it. And I didn't go looking for it. Whatever touched that wall, it knew I was inside. I've replayed that night more times than I can count, trying to find the moment where I could have changed something, where I could have just gone to sleep instead of listening. But that's the thing about quiet nights. They make you listen. They make you notice things you shouldn't. And once you notice them, you don't get to go back. If you're expecting some clean explanation at the end of this, I can't give you that. All I can give you is exactly what happened, the way I remember it, and the part that still doesn't make sense, no matter how many times I go over it. It started with wind. At least, that's what I told myself. It was late, the kind of late where the world feels paused, like everything is holding its breath. I was alone in the house, lying on the couch instead of the bed for no real reason, just one of those restless nights. The windows rattled softly at first, just a low tapping that came and went. It was almost comforting, familiar. I even remember thinking it sounded like someone lightly brushing their fingers against the glass. That thought should have bothered me more than it did, but it didn't. Not yet. Because it was just wind. That's what I told myself. That's what I kept telling myself when the sound changed. It wasn't the window anymore. It was the wall. A slow, dragging sound. Not loud, not aggressive, just deliberate. Like something moving along the outside of the house, feeling its way across the surface. I sat up, listening harder than I should have. That was my first mistake. There's a point where curiosity stops being harmless, and I crossed it without even realizing. The sound stopped the moment I focused on it. Completely. Like it knew. I remember holding my breath, waiting for it to start again. But all I could hear was the faint hum of electricity in the walls, and my own pulse in my ears. I almost laughed it off. Almost. But then it came back. Slower this time. Closer. And I swear to you, it wasn't random. It followed a line. From one end of the wall, all the way to where I was sitting. I didn't move. I couldn't. Something about the way it moved made it feel intentional, like I was part of whatever it was doing, like it was mapping me. I tried to tell myself it was branches, maybe something loose outside scraping against the siding. That would have made sense. It should have made sense. But branches don't stop when you listen, and they don't change direction like that. I stood up slowly, every movement feeling louder than it should have been. The floor creaked under me, and the sound on the wall stopped again, instantly. That's when the silence stopped feeling empty. It felt occupied, heavy, like something was just on the other side, waiting. I don't know why I did it, but I took a step toward the wall. Just one. And that's when I heard it breathe. It wasn't loud. It wasn't some exaggerated growl like in movies. It was worse. It was close. Too close. A wet, slow inhale, like whatever was outside had its face right up against the wall. I froze. Every instinct I had was screaming at me to move, to get away, to turn on every light in the house. But I didn't, because a part of me needed to know if it was real. That part of me is the reason I can't sleep properly anymore. I leaned in, just slightly, close enough that I could almost feel the cold coming through the wall. And then it touched it again, not dragging this time, pressing. I could hear the weight of it, a dull, heavy contact, like something solid leaning into the structure. The wall creaked faintly under the pressure. That's when the shape hit me. Whatever was outside wasn't small. It wasn't a branch. It wasn't an animal you'd expect to find wandering near a house. It was tall enough to reach exactly where I was standing. And it knew. I stepped back, finally breaking whatever hold that moment had on me. The floor creaked again, louder this time, And the reaction was immediate. The pressure on the wall shifted. Fast, too fast. It moved from where I had been standing to where I stepped back to. I didn't hear footsteps. I didn't hear anything move across the ground. It was just there again, aligned with me. That's when the fear stopped being abstract. It became precise, focused. I wasn't just near something, I was being tracked. I backed away slowly, trying not to make noise, but it didn't matter. Every small movement I made, it matched. Always on the other side, always exactly where I was. Like there was no barrier at all, like the wall was just a suggestion to it. I wanted to run. I really did, but something kept me moving slow, careful, like sudden movement would trigger something worse. And then I made the mistake that still plays in my head every night. I spoke. It wasn't even a full sentence, just a quiet, stupid, "Hello?" The word barely left my mouth before it answered, not with a voice, with a sound. A low, distorted mimic of what I had just said, not exact, not human, but close enough to make my stomach drop. It didn't understand the word. It understood the shape of it. I don't remember deciding to run, but suddenly I was moving, fast, heading toward the hallway, away from that wall. The house felt different now, smaller, like the space was closing in. I could hear it outside, keeping pace, not running, just matching me, always matching me. I made it to the bedroom and slammed the door, locking it, even though I knew it wouldn't matter if it really wanted to get in. The silence came back, immediate, total, and that was worse than the noise. I stood there staring at the door, waiting for something, anything, a scratch, a thud, a sign that it was still there. Minutes passed, maybe more. I don't know. Time didn't feel normal anymore. Eventually I convinced myself it was gone, that it had just lost interest. I even laughed a little, quiet, shaky, the kind of laugh you make when you're trying to force reality back into something reasonable. And then, behind me, on the bedroom wall, I heard it again. Not dragging, not searching, just one slow, deliberate touch, exactly where I was standing. I didn't turn around right away. That's the part that still bothers me, the hesitation. Not because I was brave, but because something in me already knew what I'd see, or at least knew I wouldn't be able to unsee it. My body just stalled, like it was buying time my mind didn't want. The sound didn't come again immediately. It didn't need to. That single touch was enough to confirm everything I'd been trying to explain away. It had moved, not around the house, not along the outside, through it. Or maybe that's not even the right word. It didn't feel like it passed through anything. It felt like distance just stopped mattering to it. Like walls, corners, space, those were rules for me, not for it. I could feel it now, even without looking. That same heavy presence from before, but closer, sharper, focused entirely on me. My back was to the wall, just a few feet away, and the air felt colder there. Not dramatically, just enough to notice, enough to make the hairs on my arms stand up. I remember swallowing, my throat dry, and trying to listen for anything else. Breathing, movement. But it was quiet again, completely quiet, like it was waiting for me to do something first. I think that's what made me turn around. Not courage, not curiosity, just the unbearable feeling of being studied. I needed to see what was studying me. I turned slowly, too slowly. Every inch felt like it took effort. And at first, there was nothing, just the wall, plain, still, exactly the way it should have been. I actually felt a flicker of relief, real relief. The kind that makes your shoulders drop before your brain has time to question it. And then I noticed the mark. It wasn't there before. I know it wasn't. A faint indentation in the drywall, right at chest height. Not a crack, not damage from inside. It was pushed inward, like something had pressed against it from the other side. I stepped closer without thinking. That same pull again. That need to understand something I should have stayed away from. I reached out, hesitated for just a second, then touched it. The spot was cold. Not like the rest of the wall, not like the room. It felt wrong, like touching something that didn't belong in that space. And then it pushed back. Not hard, not violent, just enough. A slow, steady pressure against my hand from inside the wall. I jerked back immediately, stumbling a step, my heart hitting so hard it made my vision blur for a second. There was no sound this time. No dragging, no breathing. Just that pressure still there, holding for a moment longer, then releasing. The indentation faded. Not completely, but enough that if you hadn't seen it happen, you'd probably miss it. I stood there staring at it, trying to force my brain to catch up. That was the moment something changed in me. Up until then, I was scared, confused, but still trying to fit it into something I understood. That moment took that away. There was no explanation left that made sense. No version of this that ended with, it was just anything. I wasn't dealing with something outside anymore. I was sharing space with it, and it had just touched me back. I remember backing away slowly, my eyes locked on that spot, like if I looked away it would happen again somewhere else. The room felt smaller now. Not physically, but in a way I can't really explain. Like the boundaries had shifted, and I didn't know where they were anymore. I grabbed my phone off the nightstand without taking my eyes off the wall. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped it. I don't even remember unlocking it, just that I ended up on the camera. I pointed it at the wall. That mark. I needed proof. Something I could look at later and convince myself this actually happened. The screen showed the wall clearly. Too clearly. No distortion. No shadow. Just a normal wall. Empty. I moved the phone slightly, adjusting the angle, and for a second, just a second, I saw something that wasn't there in real life. A shape, taller than me, right behind where the indentation had been. It didn't look solid, more like a distortion, like heat waves bending the air, but darker, defined enough to feel like a body. Long, upright, wrong proportions. I froze, staring at the screen, my breathing shallow, afraid to even blink. Slowly, I lowered the phone. The wall was empty again. I raised it back up. Nothing. Just the wall. I don't know which version scared me more. The one where I saw it, or the one where I didn't. Because one meant it was there. The other meant it could choose when to be seen. My grip tightened on the phone, and I realized I wasn't alone in that room in a way that had nothing to do with physical space anymore. It wasn't just near me, it was aware of me, of what I was doing, what I was thinking. That's when the smell hit me. Faint at first, then stronger. Wet, earthy, like damp soil mixed with something sour, something that had been left too long in the dark. It filled the room slowly, like it was leaking in from somewhere, or maybe from something. I covered my nose instinctively, my stomach turning, and that's when I heard it again. Not from the wall this time, from behind me. Close, too close. A soft, uneven exhale, right at the back of my neck. I didn't spin around this time. I couldn't. My body locked up the second that breath touched my neck. Warm, damp, real, not imagined, not distant, right there. Every instinct screamed at me to move, but something stronger held me still. Because if I turned, it wouldn't be a sound anymore. It would be it, fully. No barrier left between us, not even the illusion of one. The smell was stronger now. Rot and wet earth, thick in the air, clinging to the back of my throat. I could hear it breathing behind me, slow, uneven, like it was studying the rhythm of mine, matching it, learning it. I squeezed my eyes shut for a second, just one, trying to steady myself. And in that moment, it inhaled sharply, like it noticed, like it reacted. I opened my eyes again immediately. Big mistake, because the room felt closer now, smaller, like the distance between everything had shrunk. I could feel it leaning in, just slightly, the presence shifting without sound. I still didn't turn. I couldn't give it that. Instead, I took one step forward, then another, slow, careful, testing. For a second, nothing happened. Then I felt it move with me, not footsteps, not weight on the floor, just there again, still behind me, still aligned, always aligned. That's when I understood something I wish I hadn't. It wasn't following me through the house. It was following me directly. Space didn't matter. Walls didn't matter. It only needed me. My chest tightened, panic rising fast now, too fast to control. I needed distance, real distance. I bolted for the door. This time I didn't care about noise. The floor creaked, the handle rattled in my grip, and I yanked the door open hard enough it slammed into the wall. I ran into the hallway, not looking back, not stopping. The house felt wrong, stretched, like it was longer than it should have been. And behind me, nothing. No footsteps, no breathing, just silence. For half a second, I thought I lost it, and then I saw it. At the end of the hallway, not fully, not clearly, just enough. A tall shape, too thin in some places, too wide in others. Head slightly tilted, watching, waiting. It wasn't chasing me anymore. It didn't need to, because it already knew where I was going to stop. And that's when it spoke again. Not words, not really. Just a broken, stretched version of my voice, echoing back at me from the dark. Closer than it should have been. I didn't spin around this time. I couldn't. My body locked the second that breath touched the back of my neck. Warm, damp, real in a way nothing else had been before. Not distant, not filtered through walls. Right there. Close enough that I could feel the slight shift of air with each uneven exhale. Every instinct I had screamed at me to move, to turn, to fight or run or do anything. But something deeper held me in place. Because if I turned, it wouldn't be a sound anymore. It would be it, fully. No distance, no denial left. The smell got stronger. Wet earth, rot, something sour underneath it, like something that had been buried and then dug back up. It filled my lungs, stuck to the back of my throat. I could hear it breathing behind me, slow, dragging inhales, like it was learning the rhythm of mine, matching it, waiting for me to change so it could follow. I squeezed my eyes shut for just a second, trying to steady myself, trying to think. And the moment I did, it reacted. A sharp inhale, sudden, interested, like it noticed the break in my rhythm. I opened my eyes immediately, heart jumping, and the room felt wrong, smaller, like the space had compressed around us without moving anything. I still didn't turn. Instead, I took a step forward, slow, careful, testing. For a fraction of a second, nothing happened. Then it adjusted. No sound, no movement I could track. Just the presence, still there, still perfectly behind me, like it had never been anywhere else. Aligned. Exact. That's when it really hit me. It wasn't following me through the house. It was following me. My chest tightened, panic rising too fast to control now, bleeding into my arms, my hands. I needed distance, real distance. I needed something between us that actually meant something. I moved faster. One step, then another, then I broke into a run. The floor creaked under me, loud, sharp, the sound echoing through the hallway as I grabbed the door handle and yanked it open, hard enough it slammed against the wall. I didn't look back. I just ran. The hallway stretched out in front of me, longer than it should have been, like the house had shifted while I wasn't paying attention. Every step felt off, like I wasn't covering the distance I should have. And behind me, nothing. No footsteps, no breath, no sound at all. For half a second, I thought maybe I'd lost it. Maybe whatever it was couldn't keep up when I moved fast enough. That thought barely had time to exist before it collapsed. Because when I looked up, it was already there, at the end of the hallway. Not fully visible, not in a way my eyes could settle on, but enough. A shape that didn't belong. Tall, too tall. Limbs that seemed wrong, like they bent or stretched in ways that didn't match anything human or animal. Its head tilted slightly, just enough to feel like it was studying me, waiting. It wasn't chasing me anymore. It didn't need to, because it already knew where I was going to stop. I slowed without meaning to, my body reacting before my mind could argue. That same pressure again, not physical, but undeniable, like I was being guided into place. And then it spoke. Not words, not really. Just a broken, stretched version of my own voice, dragged through something deeper, something hollow. Close. Closer than it should have been. Like it wasn't at the end of the hallway anymore. Like it was right beside me again. I stopped without deciding to. My body just gave in, like something in me recognized the point where running didn't matter anymore. The hallway felt tight around me, the air thick, heavy in my lungs. That sound, my voice, twisted and dragged through something not human, lingered just long enough to settle into my head before fading into silence again. But the silence wasn't empty. It was waiting. I didn't look at it directly. I couldn't. My eyes stayed fixed somewhere just off to the side, like if I didn't fully acknowledge it, it might stay. Incomplete. But I could still see parts of it, enough to understand I was right to be afraid. It was taller now, or maybe it had always been, and I just hadn't seen it clearly before. Its outline shifted in small, subtle ways, like it didn't fully settle into one shape. The head was wrong, long, angled, not quite like anything I could compare it to without my brain trying to reject it. And the way it held itself, slightly hunched, but not weak, coiled, like it was holding something back, watching me, always watching me. I tried to speak again, but nothing came out. My throat tightened the second I even thought about forming words, and I realized something then that made everything worse. It didn't need me to speak anymore. It had already learned enough. The air between us felt thinner, sharper. Every breath I took felt like it was being measured, copied, stored somewhere I couldn't see. My hands were shaking, but I couldn't move them, couldn't step back, couldn't step forward. And then it moved. Not a step, not a shift I could track, just closer. 1 second it was at the end of the hallway, the next it wasn't. My heart slammed hard enough it hurt, and I felt that same warmth again, right at my side this time. Not behind me, not in front, beside me. I turned my head just slightly, just enough to catch it in the corner of my vision. That was another mistake, because the second I acknowledged it, even partially, it became clearer. Not fully, never fully, but enough. Dark, coarse texture along its form, like fur, but not quite. Limbs too long, joints sitting just a little off from where they should be. And the face? I didn't see all of it. I think something in me refused, but I saw enough to know it was looking directly at me. Not at my body, at me. And then it leaned in, slow, controlled, intentional. The smell intensified instantly, thick and suffocating, and I felt something brush lightly against my arm. Not a grab, not forceful, just a test, like it had done with the wall, like it had done with my voice. My legs almost gave out right there, but somehow I stayed standing, frozen in place, every part of me screaming to break, to run, to do anything, but I couldn't. Because now I understood something worse than all of it. It wasn't trying to get in, it already had. And whatever it wanted from me, it was just getting started. I don't know how long I stood there with it beside me. Time didn't move right anymore. Seconds stretched, folded in on themselves. All I could hear was my breathing, and the way it kept adjusting to match it, like it was sinking to me, locking onto something deeper than just sound. That light touch on my arm didn't go away. It lingered. At first it was barely there, just enough to feel like a mistake, like maybe I'd imagined it. But then it changed, slowly. The pressure increased, not enough to hurt, just enough to confirm it was real. Something was there, something solid, something choosing exactly how much of itself I was allowed to feel. I clenched my jaw, trying to force my body to move, to break whatever hold this was, but it didn't listen. My muscles felt distant, like they weren't fully mine anymore. And then it slid. That contact, whatever part of it was touching me, moved slowly down my arm. Careful, measured, exploring, the same way it had traced the wall. A low sound came from it then, not quite a growl, not quite breath. Something in between, vibrating just enough that I felt it more than heard it. It sent a cold spike straight through my chest. It wasn't angry. It was interested. That realization hit harder than anything else. My fingers twitched. Just a little. And the moment they did, it reacted instantly. The pressure tightened slightly, not painful, but firmer. Like a correction. Like it didn't want me moving too much. I forced my eyes shut again, panic rising too fast now, slipping past whatever control I had left. My heart was racing, loud enough I was sure it could hear it, feel it. And then, it copied that too. That same uneven rhythm echoed back at me, not from my chest, but from right beside me. A distorted imitation of a heartbeat, slightly off, slightly delayed. Learning. Adapting. I shook my head hard, a desperate, useless attempt to break the moment, and that's when everything shifted. The pressure on my arm disappeared. Gone instantly. The presence pulled back just enough that the air felt colder where it had been. Empty, but not gone. Never gone. I opened my eyes, breathing hard, and for the first time since this started, I moved without resistance. One step forward, then another. Nothing stopped me. No matching movement, no immediate adjustment, just silence again. I didn't wait to understand why. I ran. Down the rest of the hallway, into the living room, straight for the front door. My hands fumbled with the lock, slipping once, twice, before I finally got it open and yanked the door wide. Cold night air hit me hard, sharp and real, and I stumbled outside onto the porch, gasping like I'd been underwater too long. I kept moving. Off the porch, into the yard, putting as much distance between me and the house as I could, before I finally stopped and turned around. The house looked normal. Still. Quiet. Exactly the way it had always looked. No movement, no shadows in the windows, No sign of anything inside. For a moment, just a moment, I thought maybe it was over. That maybe whatever had happened stayed in there. Then I saw it, not inside, on the outside wall of the house, right where the hallway would be, a long, slow indentation forming in the siding, moving, tracking, from one end, straight toward the front door, toward me. I stepped back without thinking, my chest tightening again, that same dread rising fast. Because I finally understood the part I'd been trying not to. It didn't need to stay inside. And the distance I thought I'd created didn't mean anything to it at all. I backed away from the house, slow at first, then faster when that indentation kept moving. It didn't scrape. It didn't make a sound. It just pressed inward along the siding, like something massive was gliding its weight across the outside, following a line only it could see, following me. I kept my eyes on it, trying to understand the speed, the pattern, anything, but it didn't behave like movement. One moment it was halfway down the wall, the next it was closer, the distance collapsing in ways that didn't make sense. My heel caught on something in the yard, and I stumbled, nearly falling. The second my body dropped even slightly, it reacted. The indentation jumped forward, fast, closing the remaining distance to the front of the house in an instant. The wood creaked under the pressure this time, a low, strained sound that carried into the night. I scrambled back up, heart slamming, and took another step away. It stopped. Not gradually, immediately, like it was waiting for something from me. My breathing was loud now, ragged, and the cold air burned in my chest. I tried to slow it, to steady myself, but I couldn't, and I knew it could hear it. I knew it was still matching me somehow, even from there. The front door behind me was still open, just a few feet away. Dark inside, silent. For a second, I thought about running, leaving the yard, just getting as far away as possible, not looking back. But something about the way it stopped, the way it reacted when I stumbled, it felt like it wanted that, like distance wasn't escape, like distance was part of whatever it was doing. I swallowed hard, my throat dry, and took a slow step sideways instead of back. The indentation shifted, not forward, sideways, keeping me centered. That cold realization settled in deep. It wasn't chasing, it was positioning. My chest tightened again, a different kind of fear now. Not panic, not confusion. Understanding. I glanced toward the open door behind me, then back at the wall. The indentation pulsed slightly, as if something on the other side was leaning harder, testing the barrier, waiting for me to choose. A memory hit me then, quick, sharp. The way it pressed the wall in my bedroom, the way it touched my arm, careful, measured, like it was learning through contact, not just where I was, what I would do. I took a slow step toward the door. The indentation deepened instantly. The wood groaned again, louder this time, like it was under strain. I stopped. It held. I stepped back. It eased. That was enough. Enough to know this wasn't random. This wasn't instinct. This was control. My hands trembled at my sides as I looked between the door and the wall again, my mind racing, trying to find something, anything I could use. If it wanted me to go inside, then staying out mattered, at least for now. I took another step back into the yard, putting more space between me and the house. The indentation didn't follow this time. It stayed, right at the front, waiting. That was worse, way worse, because it meant it wasn't just reacting anymore. It had already decided where this was going to happen, and I was the one being guided into it. I should have run. Every part of me knew it. The yard was open, the road wasn't far, and whatever this was hadn't stopped me from leaving. But the way it held at the front of the house, the way it waited, it felt like leaving was exactly what it wanted. So I did the opposite. I moved toward the door. Slow, careful, like before. The indentation deepened immediately, the wood groaning under the pressure, as if something heavy leaned harder from the other side. Not breaking through, not yet. Just preparing. I stopped inches from the doorway, staring into the dark inside. Nothing moved, no sound, but I could feel it there, waiting for me to step back in. My chest tightened, breath unsteady, and for a second I hesitated. That was all it needed. The indentation vanished, instantly. No transition, no movement across the wall, just gone. And before I could process that, something slammed into the inside of the house. A deep, violent impact from within, like weight, hitting the hallway wall hard enough to shake the frame. The sound ripped through the silence, sharp and wrong, and I staggered back instinctively. It wasn't outside anymore. It hadn't been. I didn't think. I ran to the doorway, stopping just short, my eyes straining against the darkness inside. The hallway looked the same, but it felt deeper, like it went farther than it should. And then I saw it, halfway down, not fully formed, not fully visible, but there, standing where I had been before, waiting where I would have been if I'd gone back in. Its shape shifted slightly, unstable, like it wasn't meant to be seen this clearly. Tall, uneven. The head angled just enough to suggest it was looking directly at me again. Not surprised, not searching, expecting, like this had always been the outcome. My stomach dropped, a cold, hollow feeling spreading through my chest. It didn't trap me. It placed me. Every step I took, every choice I made, led right back to this moment. And then it moved, not toward me, but into the wall beside it, slowly, deliberately, like it was showing me something. The surface pressed inward as its shape merged with it, that same unnatural indentation forming again, but this time from the inside, reversing what I had seen before, rewriting it. I stepped back without thinking, dread hitting harder than anything before. Because now I understood the part I'd been missing. It didn't need to reach me. It needed me to understand it could. And the moment that settled in, the front door behind me creaked, slowly, starting to close on its own. I don't remember deciding to move. 1 second I was standing there, staring into that hallway, and the next I was backing away as the door creaked shut behind me. Slow, steady, like something was finishing a decision I hadn't made. I didn't try to stop it. I couldn't. The second it clicked closed, the pressure lifted. Not all at once, but enough. Enough that I could breathe again without feeling watched from every angle. Enough that the silence felt empty again. I stood there in the yard for a long time, staring at the house. Nothing moved. No sounds, no shapes, no sign of anything inside. Just a normal house. Eventually I left. I don't remember grabbing anything. I don't remember locking the door. I just walked until the house was out of sight. And even then I didn't stop. I kept going until my legs hurt and my chest burned and the night started to feel real again. I told myself it was over. That whatever it was, stayed there. I needed to believe that. For a while, I even managed to. But things didn't go back to normal. They don't. Sometimes, late at night, when everything is quiet enough, I hear it again. Not loud, not constant, just enough. A faint, dragging sound. Not on the outside of the house, inside. Always somewhere just out of view. And it never lasts long. Just a few seconds, like it's reminding me or checking. I moved. Different place, different walls. Didn't matter. It doesn't follow the house. It follows me. I haven't tried to record it again. I haven't tried to prove it, because I already made that mistake once. And I think that's when it started paying attention. That's the part I don't like saying out loud. The part that doesn't make sense, but feels true anyway. It didn't find me that night. I let it notice me. And now, every once in a while, when the air gets too still and the silence feels too heavy, I can feel it again. Not touching, not yet. Just close enough to let me know it hasn't lost track of me.